Good morning, everyone. Glad you tuned in. We have a fun show today. Jan Forsee is my guest this morning, and Jan brought some of her friends, but we're going to introduce them in a moment. So Jan, I asked you what your favorite verse is, or a favorite verse.
Well, my favorite verse is Romans 8:28, for we know that the Lord together for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose.
See, I had it right here.
Good, good.
I didn't know you were going to say it, but I love that. So we know that God works all things together for good, and that was one of my favorite. Well, it's got to be everyone's.
I think so.
A verse that they have because it's so encouraging, isn't it?
It is.
And then as we get older, we've seen him do that.
That's right.
And it becomes even more real as we live our life. And I hope that applies to everyone. It does ask, it's working good for those basically who follow the Lord.
That's right.
Well, Jan, I want to hear about your story, but I know that includes some other friends, doesn't it?
Right, it certainly does. First of all, let me introduce you to Teddy Ruxpin.
Okay.
And he talks.
He talks.
Yeah, he talks.
Here, I want to hear you, Teddy.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
We can be friends. I want to be your friend. Well, I'm going to ask your mom.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to tell me something more.
Come with me tonight.
Teddy. Hey, Teddy.
Huh? Oh, hi, Grubby. What's going on?
Okay.
That's his friend Grubby. He's still sleeping. He didn't get to come today.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I remember Teddy's, I know that he's pretty old.
He is. He was the #1 selling toy in America in 1985 and 86.
Were those his first years?
Those were his first 2 years.
So really, as a baby, he went to the top.
That's right. Within about 4 or 5 months, he was the #1 selling toy, grossed $100 million the first year. 7.5 million of these little jewels were sold, and he was bigger then.
He was.
And that was because of the technology. Now, since the technology has been reduced, this has got a Bluetooth in it. He can be smaller and more cuddly.
He is still so cute and that. So, well, how did he come about? How is this has been a part of your family, right? Or you
Right.
and your husband?
Yes, my husband, Jan Forsee, who is now deceased, created Teddy in 1984-85 and took him to Don Kingsborough, who took him to Texas and got the company funded and started a company called Worlds of Wonder. And Teddy just immediately took off. And it was pretty exciting. Since that time, it's been a roller coaster. He's been up and down and up and down. And but that's why that scripture, all things work together for good for those that love the Lord. So we always know that Teddy's going to come back. And it's always been my dream that Teddy be able to tell some Old Testament Bible stories and things. But we haven't done that yet.
Okay.
The voice of Teddy Ruxpin is Phil Barron. And he is a Jewish cantor up in Encino. He has a wonderful voice.
Has it always been him?
30 years. He's been the only Teddy Ruxpin, and he's very, very good.
So did Ken get the idea, or how did the initial? I'm just curious, Jan, how the initial.
It's interesting.
Concept came.
Ken freelanced a lot, and then he was also, for 12 years, he was on staff at Disney, and he was what they now call an Imagineer, and worked out of the Burbank office.
Yeah.
And he designed a lot of the rides and fixed the rides, would paint the ghosts in the
At Disneyland.
Yeah, at Disneyland, and so he did lots of different things. He was basically a model builder. And he worked on the Bear Jamboree, but he thought, why can't we just condense this down? Disney always used hydraulics and all kinds of
Well, I
expensive
remember
equipment.
the one that sticks in my mind from the. Oh wait, no, I was going to say Mr. Lincoln.
He worked on Mr. Lincoln as well.
He
He
did.
did work on Mr.
Because
Lincoln.
that, I'm
It's
telling you,
wonderful.
I was in awe of that.
I love that
Yeah,
too.
okay.
So he'd worked on a lot of different things over 12 years at Disney. He started out in the mailroom, and then he kind of learned the lay of the land and decided he wanted to be an animator. So he had just graduated from high school, no art training, but he was a good artist, and he'd drawn 3D art. So that was very much like animation. So he got a job as an animator. Everybody else had a 4-year art school, but he was an animator.
See
and
that?
then worked all around the company.
What you're describing, in my opinion, it is exactly living out that verse.
It is.
Because he needed those things in
That's
his
right.
background, if it to come full circle, to get the idea for Teddy
this.
to be born.
Isn't that something? Well, it's fun because right now, a professor in New Jersey who has as his research documentaries is doing a documentary of my husband's creativity. And he has dug up all kinds of people that we haven't seen or heard of in like 30 years. People from Disney like Raleigh Crump and just interesting people, and they've talked about Ken. So it's
I
going to
can't
be
wait
another.
to
It's
see
going to be
that.
fun. It's going to be another year and a half because there's 40 interviews, and they've got to be condensed down to 60 or 90 minutes. So,
So it can play like on PBS or
YouTube.
something. Oh, YouTube.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
we want
Well,
it to
that-
be, because the main idea is that it's for teachers to teach students how to do documentaries. And then also for art students to hear the story of how Ken, developed his creativity.
So Teddy has this other friend.
He does.
And who's this?
This other friend is Branson Bear.
Okay.
We have family members that went to Branson and kept talking about how wonderful it was. And we went and met a couple that said, well, if you have Teddy Ruxpin, why don't you create a character for Branson, Missouri? So we did, and this is Branson Bear. He has a cowboy. He wears a cowboy hat. And he has two storybooks and 20 different songs.
So does Branson talk too?
He doesn't talk. He doesn't have the mechanism to
But
talk,
but he tells the story.
he tells stories and he sings and he does everything but talk.
Yeah.
So he's the other one. He's the one that we wanted to take it from the bottom up. So we went to China and found the manufacturers and designed every part of it, and it was a real learning experience.
I can just imagine. But Teddy is probably, I know you're not supposed to have favorites with your children, but I'm sure that Teddy is near and dear to your heart.
Teddy is. He's been a real joy to us. He's like a real person to us.
Yeah. So folks can still find Teddy and give
He's on Amazon.
As a present to their kids this year.
That's right. He's on Amazon.com right now. And there's some smaller ones. This one's fairly expensive, but they have some that are like $19, $20,
Is that
sometimes
right?
$13. But you just push their hand and they sing a little bit, but the mouth doesn't move.
Jan, I so appreciate you. And Jan is very involved with our church at Saddleback Laguna Woods, and I appreciate your ministries. Can you come back one more day? Because I want to
Sure.
hear about how the Lord is a daily part of your life and ministry and has been for many years. It's the other side of your story. And I appreciate both sides very,
you.
very much. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming down and
You
introducing
bet.
Teddy. And can I be on a first name basis
Oh,
with Branson?
absolutely, with Branson.
Because I love Branson, Missouri myself.
It is. It's wonderful.
It's been some good times have been had there and that. But anyway, so Jan, thank you. Hey everyone, I know you're going to I hope you'll tune back in tomorrow because we're going to continue this story. And I think you'll be very challenged and encouraged by what all Jan will have to say. So see you tomorrow. Have a great day.